And we have some dignitaries amongst us today, and we would like to recognize those people. We have our state representative, the Honorable Barbara Gervin Hawkins, if she could just wave at us. And we also have, I'm sorry, real feedback here, Dr. Mo Sayedi, I'm sorry, thank you. And we have a number of other dignitaries here amongst us as well. So thank you so much for being here with us today and taking time out of your day to do that. I just want to call attention to the program. Each one of you received a program when you came in. I'm not going to go through the program because of the shortness of time that we have. So if you can look at the sequence of events, we'll pretty much be following that as we go along. At this time, I'd like to invite, before I introduce the L.E.N.S members, because they've worked so hard to bring this about. Before I bring them on, I would like to call Ms. Kathleen Striggers up, and she has a presentation to make. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you everybody for coming out to L.E.N.S. And my name is Kathleen Carter Stiggers, and to some of you, Queen, of course. What I'm going to be doing, I'm the Community Relations Director for the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Foundation. And with me I have, I'm sorry, I apologize. This is Nathaniel William Davis's wife, Marie Davis. We are going to be presenting today. We're going to be presenting 2 scholarships today. And one will go to St. Philip's College. The other one will go to Our Lady of the Lake. These scholarships are in the name of Nathaniel William Davis, because we all know Nate, as we fondly call him, worked tirelessly for many years doing volunteer work, retired from the Davis Scott Y, which was named after his father. And then he became the president of this foundation. So we certainly want to keep his legacy going on by giving the scholarships to the college and the university, because nobody deserves it more than Nate. So I want you all to give him a hand and Maria a hand as well. So the first scholarship I'm going to be presenting will be to Dr. Lawson, Adina Williams Lawson at St. Philip's College. We're presenting to them a scholarship for $500 for 5 years for a student that they choose. But again, we want to make sure that Nate's legacy goes on, and this will certainly help a student through their education. So thank you, Dr. Lawson and St. Philip's, for accepting this scholarship. And again, thank you, Marie, for sharing Nate with us.
May I say thank you?
Yes, you can go ahead and speak, yes.
I would like to say on behalf of St. Philip's College that I graciously accept this scholarship to support our students, over 13,000 students. We still have many students that are first generation, the first in their families to go to college. So this scholarship is transformational. When you think about the impact that it has when one student in the family gets a college degree, it affects that generation and the next generation and the next generation. It has generational impact, so multiplied 1,000 times. And thank you, Ms. Davis. We greatly appreciate it, and thanks to the organization. I'm happy to be here to receive on behalf of St. Philip's College. Thank you.
And thank you very much. The next scholarship will go to OLLU, Our Lady of the Lake University. And we have Dr. Williams here, and Dr. Williams, George Williams, he is the Vice President of Student Affairs. So he will be accepting this scholarship on behalf of Our Lady of the Lake. Our Lady of the Lake will be receiving a scholarship It will be $1,000 a year for 5 years, again, for a deserving student. And we certainly want to thank you, Dr. Williams, for accepting the scholarship in Nathaniel William Davis's name.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for this opportunity. Like Dr. Larson mentioned, this is an opportunity for us to provide access to our students. Those dreams are now becoming more of a reality because of these funds. We know it costs for an education, and this gives us an opportunity to do that. On a personal note, I want to say your husband was a dear friend, a mentor of mine as well. I've certainly missed him, just like many others. He still remains in my heart, and so this will carry on through his honor and his legacy here at Our Lady of Lake University. And once again, thank you all so much for this opportunity.
Thank you. And I want to thank you all for coming and supporting the scholarships, because without people like you, we would not be able to do this. We're also going to be presenting to Miss Marie Davis. We have an award, and this award is also because of all the work that Nathaniel Davis did for us. So we want to make sure that we gave her something that she could keep in her home and look at and let her know how much we appreciated him. Thank you so much, Mrs. Davis, for sharing Nate with us all those years. And I can tell you, I called all hours of the night. And Marie would answer the phone and give Nate the phone. So without her, we wouldn't have been able to do anything with Nate. So thank you again.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, so at this time, what I'd like to do is I'd like to introduce the L.E.N.S committee, the Literary Empowerment Network Summit Committee. And in the order of, well, what do I want to say? I was going to say in the order of importance, but that's not true, okay, because I'm last. No, I'm kidding. So let's just start with our leader, okay? Let's just start with Rose Bean. Rose Bean is our program director. And you'll be hearing more from Rose later in the program. Also, we have Paula Applin. Renee McCrary Holland. She gave us our wonderful prayer this morning. We have Myrtle Parks. We have Dr. Raja Ramamurthy. We had Betty Williams. She can't be with us today. She has some things going on, but she won't be able to be with us. But then also you have myself, Betty Williamson. So at this time, I'd like to present to you Dr. Ramamurthy, and she'll take us from here.
Thank you, Betty. Namaste. Good afternoon. I'm here to tell a few words about what L.E.N.S is all about and why are we doing this. L.E.N.S is an organization that creates a platform for published authors to showcase their work, to market their literary achievements to various communities, to explore and expose people to new ideas, to allow presentations of different views, and promote dialogue among diverse audiences with varied interests, like all of us here. In so doing, we hope that we encourage literacy, and the scholarship is a very big part of it. And I think that by enabling our students access to education, we open so many doors for them. That's the purpose of L.E.N.S, and we want to thank you for being here, supporting it in so many different ways. Now I have the pleasure of introducing two of our interviewers. This is an idea we came up with. We invite the authors, those who are going to be present here in person, and those who are virtual, online. Today, I think we have two of them. And we introduce this concept of an interview. So we have two individuals who will be interviewing our authors today. And that's a very enjoyable session to hear from the authors and have so many questions that are boiling in your mind right now answered for us. Dr. Shawanda Riley is a Fort Worth, Texas-based educator, speaker, and published author. She was one of our authors last year. She speaks on issues regarding racial equity and diversity at NCORE, that's the National Conference of Race and Ethnicity, the University of Texas at Arlington, and Northwest Oklahoma State University. She is currently an associate professor of English, Composition, and Literature at the Tarrant County College in Hurst, Texas. Her doctoral research was centered on depictions of African American women in contemporary African American Christian fiction. Her academic research focuses on the areas of faith, pop culture, and the African American experience. Our second interviewer is Dr. Venkat Srinivasan, is a board-certified internist whose interest is in interconnection between physical and emotional process. He specializes in stress management and resilience training, SMART in short, and is the first and only physician in Texas to have obtained this distinction. Dr. Srinivasan is a diplomat of the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. He co-founded Hill Country Lifestyle Medicine Center to provide patients with a unique style of primary care, minimizing reliance on pills and procedures. He was one of our featured authors a couple of years ago, and today he'll be one of our interviewers. I think right now we are going to have a literary moment, and I call on Paula to come over here to do that. So get your pens ready and be ready for this literary moment. It has a big cash prize behind it.
I'm going to call Myrtle to come assist me. And good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
All right. Hats off for those of you that are literary scholars. Our first question. I read without my list. Multi-award-winning novelist Toni Morrison had 11 best-selling novels. Which of the following won Morrison the Pulitzer Prize and was later made into a film by the same name? Was it Song of Solomon? You gotta raise your hands if you want the money, so don't holler out.
Who was shy?
I don't think she even needs the multiple choice
We
selection.
was gonna give, multiple selection. But Myrtle was supposed to be standing up to see who raised their hand first. And so she said, okay.
Love it.
See, we loved it. So, thank you, and we'll be back later, so know your books.
Okay, so without further ado, we're going to go right into introducing our authors. And this is how it's going to go. So I'm going to read the bios of the author. We have two virtual authors, that one is in New York and she's streaming right now virtually. And we have one author who is in Plano, Texas, who is streaming also. They won't be live with us today, but I'll read their bio and something about their books. And they do have their information over there. So in case if you're interested in their books, you can still purchase them and get the right information that you need. The other authors that we have 5 authors here with us today, and I am going to read their bios. And after I read their bios, they're going to come up to the podium and they are going to give you their own self-assessment or a quick brief overview of their book. They have like maybe about 2 or 3 minutes at the most to give a little bit about their book. Okay, if they run over, you'll see me come over and start dancing like they do on, that New York show when they're out there, and they're taking too long or whatever. I'll come over and get them or whatever, but I'm sure they'll stick to the time that they had. Okay, and then after that is done, then we'll have them all come up. They will sit here, and then we'll have our interviewers, one at this podium and one at that podium, and then we'll start the Q&A. Okay, all right. So our first spotlight author for today is Charlize Lyles. And the title of her book is Do I Dare Disturb the Universe? From the Projects to Prep School. Her story is of a girl growing up Afro and American on the cusp of a new era, the late 1960s and early 1970s, at a time when Black militants marched in the streets and ice cream vendors were murdered in the same streets. The author recounts how she sojourned from her home in a volatile housing project to a predominantly white private school that she fit into neither universe. The question is, who will she become? Charlize currently lives with her husband in Plano, Texas. She grew up in Cleveland's King Kennedy Estates public housing project, notorious for crime and other obstacles that challenged students growing up in a concentrated poverty environment. Over 16,000 students and teachers have read her memoir, Do I Dare Disturb the Universe? From the Project to Prep School, now in its 2nd edition. This creativity and passion of Charlize was obvious from the very beginning of her life as a writer. In 1974, Charlize Lyles was in the first cohort of female students to attend Hawkins School, a previously all-boys private school in the remote suburbs of Cleveland. She went on to attend Boston University and graduated from Smith College in Northampton, Massachusetts. For 20 years, Ms. Lyles worked as a print journalist, starting as a clerk for Chief White House correspondent Hendrick Smith in the Washington Bureau of New York Times. She went on to report on local government, social services, religion and courts, and landmark newspapers, and Cox received numerous journalism awards as a reporter, including the prestigious Alice Patterson Foundation Fellowship and 2 Ohio Society of Professional Journalists first and second place prizes. In 1999, Ms. Lyles was the co-founding editor of Catalyst Cleveland, a nonprofit urban education policy magazine that reported on school reform efforts in the city's public school. Under her 9-year leadership, the publication received numerous recognitions, including 2 national awards from the Association for Women in Communications and state awards for best social justice reporting. She also received a Kiplinger Fellowship at the Ohio State University to study digital media. She has also ghostwritten a history book on Martin Luther King Jr.'s nonviolent philosophy and protest techniques. As a short story writer, Ms. Lyles has received a fellowship from the Virginia Center for the Arts and the Kimblio Fiction Workshop at Southern Methodist University. She studied in MFA programs at Old Dominion University and Southern Methodist University. For the past decade, Ms. Lyles has worked in healthcare proposal development for contractors with the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs. Currently, she works in health information technology with a focus on health equity. She also explores ways to contribute to youth by teaching strong decision-making skills. And she's also an avid gardener and loves spending time with her harvest. That is Ms. Charlize Lyles from Plano, Texas. If you're interested in her writings, like I stated, she has a couple of books over there, so you can take care of her today. Our second spotlight author is Anastasia Higginbotham. In the start of her book, she opens with the following call to action. In a 1993 interview, Toni Morrison said about racism in America, "White people have a very, very serious problem, and they should start thinking about what they can do about it." And she added, "and take me out of it." Those words landed in me as a direct command. And that's a direct quote from our author, Anastasia Higginbotham. Anastasia resides in the state of New York. She is an artist whose 2018 banned children's book titled Not My Idea, a book about whiteness, invites white children to confront anti-blackness and dismantle white supremacy in themselves first and every place else second. Not My Idea centers on a white child who has seen video footage of racist police brutality. The child is horrified and expresses curiosity about the incident to white adults in their family, who reassures the child that they don't have to worry. They are safe from police violence. And then their family then makes excuses for and ignores the injustice. The child goes to the library to learn about history of white supremacy and other legacy of white people who joined the leaders of Black liberation to undo oppressive systems. Other books Anastasia has written address death, sex, abuse, queer identity, and divorce. Anastasia makes her books using grocery bags and other discarded items as a way to make wholeness and beauty from what's broken and in pieces. She teaches full impact self-defense to children and adults in New York City and has 2 children of her own. All her books are available through Dautier Press and anywhere books are sold. She is reachable through Instagram at #AHigginBooks. That's our author, Anastasia Higginbotham. Those are our 2 virtual authors. Now we'll get into our authors who are here with us today. The first author that I will present, and after I finish presenting, up and give a little excerpt of his book. The first author you'll hear from today is Mr. Dominique Anderson. Dominique Anderson was born in 1990 in Savannah, Georgia, to the parents of Reginald and Sherry Anderson. Dominique was born at 1.6 ounces, and now at the tender age of 32, Dominique is now married to his lovely wife of 4 years, Aisha Marie Anderson. Aisha and Dominique attend New Creation Christian Fellowship, where he has been an active member for 31 years. He has been serving as deacon for 16 years, and he continues to serve God's people. Dominique has a passion to preach the gospel, help young people become who they are, and most importantly, become who God has called them to be. Dominique holds a Bachelor of Science in Computer Information Systems from the University of the Incarnate Word, as well as a Master of Business Administration in Management Information Systems from Wayland Baptist University. Dominique is a foodie. He loves to try different foods. I'm with you there, Dominique. Love that too. Dominique will come now and give a quick overview of his book titled, What God Really Showed Me. Hold on to His unchanging hand. Welcome, Dominique.
Good evening. Thank y'all for coming. My name is Dominique, so I had the privilege of writing this book, and I developed this book in this time of this pandemic age that we've been in, really to be a beacon of light to the young people that have suffered through mental health. So I chose to share my story about how God has allowed me to survive from birth to where I am now. Most of the time, young people won't say it, but we go through a lot of challenges. Some of them are unspoken, often not if you were raised in the church. Some we glaze over, and we don't really choose to be honest with ourselves about what we've gone through. So I talked about my journey from birth, from going through the educational system, from getting out of middle school and high school, going into college. My professor told me I will never be anything. Literally trying to fail me out of class in undergrad, just because of something that he did not like of me and how I persevered through that. I later go into a more intimate time in my life of finishing college, going to undergrad, then, wanting to be married, getting married. How does life look like when you're married, and what happens when you're at a job for 6 years and they lay you off? And then you got to restart life over again. And how I never gave up. I've always stayed in church. I never backslid. I never chose to turn the corner or do anything else other than what I knew what to do was how to stay in God and how to stay in His face. Thank you. So this is a very intimate read. This is a very intimate read, not just for my generation, but my hope is to inspire the older generation. And my hope is that when you pick up this book and you read it, that you'll have an aha moment about how God really showed you how to hold on to His unchanging hand. A lot of y'all right here may be going through some things. Y'all may be battling through some things, but just remember that at the end of the day, God will really show you how you really can hold on to His hand and how He can set you free and help you have a better aspect of life. So I really took the time to sit down and write the pains of my heart, just my journey of how God has really helped survive me in hopes to change a young person's life to help them get through where they need to go. Thank you.
Our next author is Mr. John Harris of Austin, Texas. The title of his book is From Gold Teeth to Gold Jacket, My Life in Football and Business. John has written about sports for 4 decades, 4 outlets, including the Philadelphia Inquirer, Pittsburgh Tribune Review, Toledo Blade, St. Petersburg Time, Austin American Statesman, Fort Worth Star Telegram, Lexington Herald Leader, Booth Newspaper, and that's just to name a few. John has covered the Pittsburgh Steelers, he's covered the Detroit Pistons, the Cleveland Cavaliers, Detroit Lions, Cleveland Browns, Pittsburgh Pirates, Detroit Tigers, Cleveland Indians, University of Pittsburgh, West Virginia, Ohio State, Michigan, and Florida. He's covered a lot. John also hosted the Ike Taylor Show from the former Pittsburgh Steelers star for 5 years. John and Ike Taylor also paired as radio analysts for the Pittsburgh Power of the Arena Football League. John's work has garnered awards from Associated Press Sports Editors, Society of Professional Journalism. He is a proud member of Phi Beta Sigma fraternity. He wants to make sure you all know that about him. Also, he is a vivid watcher of shows such as Law and Order, The Wire, House of Cards, and he loves Black exploitation movies and most sporting events. He has an extensive record collection of R&B and soul albums from the 1960s, 70s, and 80s that is second to none. And he just recently took up smoking vintage cigars as a form of relaxation. So we present to you now Mr. John Harris from Gold Teeth to Gold Jacket, My Life in Football and Business.
Thank you, Betty, for that great introduction. From Gold Teeth to Gold Jacket is a title that the subject of the book, Edgerrin James, came up with. Anybody that saw him as a player, as a young man, he was from South Florida. He had the gold grill. He had the dreads. So he came up with the title because his story is from gold teeth at that time to gold jacket, which is what he got when he was awarded to the Pro Football Hall of Fame 2 years ago. It's his life story. It's an inspiring story of a young man who became an old man at a young age. Kind of raised himself, raised by a single mother, had a great skill as a football player, and was determined to help get his family out of poverty. Great football player at the University of Miami, went to the Indianapolis Colts, where he led the Colts to the playoffs in the first year. The greatest turnaround ever for a team from 3 wins to 13 in one season. He led the league in rushing, and football goes on and on and on, but to know Edgerrin is to know that he is a devoted father of 6 kids. 5 are in college. One's a law student. Another is working to be a plastic surgeon. Another is an R&B singer. One is a football player at Howard University. Another is going to be a basketball player at the University of Cincinnati next year. Devoted to his children. Wanted them all to go to HBCUs. That's very important to him, that they understand their heritage and their culture. There's a big part of the book is about financial literacy. Edgerrin, just unbelievably, this young man from rural South Florida with really no male role model, was able to position himself to where he received the largest contract ever for a rookie when he signed with the Colts. He didn't even have an agent when he did this. Somehow he had this astute financial mind that he carries to this day. He's made more money than, I think, all but one running back in NFL history. And unlike a lot of players, he still has all his money. And there's a lot of chapters in the book that I think people who are not necessarily sports fans will relate to. Young men who, how to take care of your money, who to trust, who not to trust, and to always take care of your family and always remember where you came from. From gold teeth to gold jacket. Thank you.
Our next presenting author is Rhonda Yvette Brown, and her book is titled Creation, That's Me. Rhonda Brown is a native of San Antonio, Texas. She is a proud wife and mother of 2 adult children. Rhonda attended Angelo State University, graduating with an Associate of Science nursing degree, then graduated from Wayland Baptist University with a Bachelor of Christian Ministry degree, followed by completion of graduate work and receipt of a master education in curriculum instruction from Concordia University. It is her life's work and desire that every child be affirmed and equipped with the awareness and deep knowing that they are created for greatness, walking out their special destiny in life and living well. In August 2020, Rhonda took a deep leap of faith and channeled her passion into the launch of her first children's book titled Creation, That's Me, a book affirming that we are all great by design, highlighting diversity as a strength, not a hindrance. It is her hope that we continue to band together during these unique times to amplify the light in every child we encounter. Rhonda sees this embodied in one of her favorite quotes from Dr. Maya Angelou. I've learned that people will forget what you say. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. This is my mantra she lives by every day as she continues to produce and publish children's books. I now present to you Rhonda Brown. She will come and give us a quick.
Good afternoon, everyone. I actually have two books. Creation as Me was the first book, and the second book is Created to Be. Yes, it's me. And it stemmed from the first book. All of those little kids have matriculated and they are now living out their dream lives in the second book. My books are to affirm children. I'm an educator. I've been an educator for over 30 some years. I work with the little ones. And I believe that if you instill it in them that they were great, they were created for a purpose, and they're here for a purpose. If you do that when they're little, as stated in there, diversity is not a bad thing, and it shouldn't be a hindrance. But if you do it when they're young, then they learn how to socialize and mingle and be with each other, no matter what their race, color, or creed. Creation, that's me. Created to be, yes, it's me.
Our next author is Mr. Jameson S. Charles. His book is titled, you can clap. His book is titled Saved-ish, Sometimes It's Hell Getting to Heaven. Saved-ish is only slightly fictional in that the protagonist's fall and rise mirrors that of the author. I was incarcerated as a teen because I was a follower as well. I blindly followed my so-called friends straight into prison. Thankfully, while there, I found a new friend to follow, one that sticks closer than a brother, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And through him, as well as my incredibly loving family, I have truly turned my childhood tragedy into a manhood's triumph. I have since earned my master's degree in theology, become an ordained minister, a motivational speaker, and at last a published author, which allows me yet another platform to inspire and enrich, making my teenage incarceration my battle cry and not my crutch. I now present to you Mr. Jameson Charles, who came to us all the way from Beaumont, Texas.
Hello, everyone. Needless to say, my book, contrary to the program, is not nonfiction. It's fiction, but only slightly. The subtitle of Saved-ish says it all. Sometimes it is hell getting to heaven. And I don't know about you, but if you're church folk, and I consider myself church folk because I go every week religiously. There's this belief that you can only do certain things and still be a Christian. I say, no way. I say, wherever you're at, that's where God meets you. And it just so happens that he met me in prison. Saved-ish was written while I was incarcerated. And the most beautiful thing about it is, it's not even the writing. Yes, it's a page turner. Yes, you will laugh out loud. You will pump your fist in triumph, and at times you'll probably shed a tear or two. But that's not what makes Saved-ish special. What makes it special is that it came to me directly from God. because I asked him for something. I asked him to give me something while I was incarcerated, something that was tailor-made just for me, something that I knew that he had to give me because I needed proof that he had his hands on me. And within days, he called my bluff. A man asked me, can you write something down for me? He was a teacher. He said, write something down, write down the worst moment of your life. Now I want you to rewrite it and tell me what would happen differently if you got a chance to do it today. I've been writing ever since. Not one day goes by that I don't write. A guard saw it, referred it to the warden. The warden saw it and said, I need to hire a writing teacher. Guys writing like this in here? And we got a writing teacher. 1 year later, I was writing every year a stage play, and we put it on for the whole institution. It was all good, and it was all God. And I thank you. Say this is my first work, my first debut novel. It will not be my last, and the stage play will be coming this summer. To God be the glory. Thank you.
And our last author, but not least, definitely, is Dr. Mateen Diop of San Antonio, Texas. His book is titled, The Making of a Madman, How a Former Inner City Principal Was Shaped to Serve Through Motivation, Adversity, and Determination. Dr. Mateen Diop is an educator, author, publisher, and activist for the future of males of color. As an educator, he has served in every role and capacity in K through 12 arena, beginning as a classroom teacher to district-wide executive director and eventually leading one of the toughest high schools in Bexar County. He is also the founding principal of the Cyber P-Tech program in the San Antonio ISD, and also the visionary behind the Young Men's and Young Women's Leadership Academies. Dr. Diop authored his seminal book, Inner City Public Schools Still Work, How One Principal's Life is Living Proof, in 2012, detailing his struggles as a student and finally realizing his calling to become a lifelong educator. Dr. Diop details in his book the fantastic job his team of teachers accomplished while he served as their principal. It was such an honor to lead this talented, passionate group of teachers. Our students surpassed every academic milestone in the school's history. His latest book, which the book I just mentioned, was released in 2021 and details his life as an executive administrator and high school principal. Dr. Diop is a product of our nation's inner city schools and believes that we can direct our youth in such a powerful way, but we must be willing to lead boldly and embrace change so that we can direct their thoughts toward positive ends. He's a veteran of the U.S. Air Force, and he took advantage of programs like Troops to Teachers, to become a certified public school educator. Dr. Diop holds a BS degree from the University of the Incarnate Word and master's and doctoral degrees from Texas A&M University at Kingsville. I present to you Dr. Mateen Diop.
Thank you very much. Dr. Mateen Diop, MA with teenager at the end. Think of it like that. So again, thank you for having me here today. And the book that I'm going to be kind of pushing today, The Making of a Madman. I want you to remember the initials MAD, because it stands for motivation, adversity, and determination. But it also stands for Mateen Ajala Diop. Now, everybody write down this email address, mateen@drmateendiop.com. Because one of the things I've been pushing lately is I have an audio book. So I narrated the book myself. And if you email me, I will send you a free copy. So doing the audio book was it was so invigorating to me because I had never done one. So I sat down, turned my little office, my home office into a studio, got the microphones, and I've had all of this going back and forth. I'm listening to myself. And I don't know if you ever listen to yourself after you've recorded. Your sound is a whole lot different. So I had to realize, I don't think I can sound that ethnic. I need to sound, so I'm changing my voice and I'm doing things like audiobook, so I was able to play with it. So when I started getting into it and I finished it and I had it engineered and all that stuff, there are sounds and music and all that stuff in the book. And so I was able to put that out, and that's the part that I'm pushing now. So the making of a madman. And I want you to remember this thing as I sit down. Motivation, adversity, and determination. I wrote the book in the really 5 different parts. But I talked about the things that motivated me to do whatever I needed to do. Then I talked about the adversity that I went through, that valley that I had to get in to come out on the other side and be determined to do what I have to do. So that's going to be the story. So thank you very much.
Okay, can I have all the authors come up and have a seat here? Rhonda, you're our only female in the group, so I'm going to have you sit right in the center. How about that? You're the only one that have a place there that we want to put you in there. And at this time, we're going to have our interviewers, Dr. Sharonda Riley and Dr. Venkat, to come up.
Good afternoon. While the authors are making their way, let's give them a hand. Wonderful work of literature. All right. And while they're getting settled, thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. I left it off my introduction, even though I'm in Hurst, Texas. I'm from San Antonio. I graduated from Sam Houston High School, Cherokee. Cherokee. I was Cherokee, not a Hurricane. And then I also graduated from St. Mary's, and I'm a member. You know, once a member, always a member of the fantastic New Creation Christian Fellowship. Fantastic. All right, I had to say that. All right. So we've got a lot of information that we want to get to you all today, but we got a short time to make it happen. And so we've got about 2 questions per author. You're all going to each kind of get a different question, so just be prepared. But it's going to be a good discussion. You know, the wonderful thing about teaching literature and then about reading and writing is that you actually leave your legacy when you write. And so we're excited to hear from these wonderful authors about the legacies that they've left. All right, so.
Thank you very much. Again, it's an honor to be here and such a privilege to be talking to such an esteemed group who have accomplished not only in their personal lives, but also have been blessed with the ability to share that others can relate to and enjoy and learn from that. My favorite topic being sports, I would start with Mr. John Harris, if that's okay. Because I used to wonder what the hell were the Colts doing when they traded away Marshall Faulk. and little did I realize that Adrian James came by and what a career he had. So, looks like you have had experience with so many sports personalities. Why did you choose Adrian James? Or why did he choose you, if that's the other way around?
Yeah, he chose me. Put it that way, he chose me. We had a mutual acquaintance. He had a mutual acquaintance, his accountant, Charles Bennett, who's a forensic accountant. And I knew Charles through years of covering the NFL and NBA. And Charles called me one day and told me that Adrian wanted to write a book. And he told me about me, he recommended me, and we talked some more. And he felt comfortable with me to tell his life story, which I consider to be an honor because he had a whole lot of people to pick to write his story.
When you write about a sports personality, all of us see them as 2-dimensional figures, on a TV screen. And everybody knows their statistics, everybody knows their running style or playing style, but there is a human being behind that. And quite often, we forget that part. So how did you bring that out in your book?
Just his story is so relatable in so many ways. To me, the football part is almost incidental. The football gets you in because everybody knows 32 and the Colts horseshoe on the side of the helmet, and the guy that Peyton Manning said was his best teammate ever. But his story from rural South Florida, Immokalee, through the University of Miami, to the Indianapolis Colts, to the Arizona Cardinals, to the Hall of Fame is one of perseverance, inspiration, a young man who raised himself pretty much as a young teen, who basically took the responsibility of supporting his family through his athletic gifts. And somehow, some way, he learned how to become a financial wizard along with that, making unbelievable investments, pretty much keeping all of the money that he made, close to $100 million, and probably doubling that by now. And I think people, young people, moms, dads, aunts, uncles, granny, grandpa, his story is one that will open a lot of people's eyes and inspire people. You can do this. As anybody that saw his Hall of Fame speech, if you haven't, Google it. It's 10 minutes long, and some consider it the best Hall of Fame speech of all time. He talks about don't allow people to judge you by your looks. Be yourself, believe in yourself, and never lose that.
That is amazing. The Arizona Cardinals thing with him and Emmitt Smith didn't happen. So we're going to pass that on.
Great, fantastic. And you know what? Y'all are right in front of the speaker. So that's why can y'all hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? No? Okay, now, okay. Now you turned off. Can you hear me now? No. Let me try this one. All right. Can you hear me now? Okay, much better. This is the karaoke mic. Okay, so yeah, if y'all would just move, because y'all are like right in front of that speaker, and that's why we're getting that feedback. Fantastic. Perfect. Perfect. That's right. All right, yeah, we'll just stay on this side together. That's right. All right, so my question is Rhonda. Your book is it and there's been a little bit of things in the news
if you're in education or you know children, the bigger, the brighter, the better for the little ones. And they love it.
Thank you. I have a question for Dr. Job.
All right, you said my name right.
Well, I was always told to pronounce properly. Dr. Job, you know, growing up in India, we still knew about Dr. Martin Luther King. And the two words from his speech that really caught out, you know, inspired me were dream and free. He dreamt about freedom, which is a shackle posed by outsiders, but the freedom to dream is a shackle that we pose on ourselves. And in your school experience, I want you to see how you tackle that aspect among your students.
Yeah, thank you. So the aspect of students and dreaming and just kind of believing, do you understand, when I was a principal at Sam Houston, I was principal at Hirsch, I was principal at W.W. White, I was a principal at Rogers Middle School, and it was never a child issue. It's the adults in the building. Children come with an empty slate. You can fill their head with whatever you want to fill their head with. And I was, as the principal, I'm walking in saying, believe, believe, believe. But if you have a teacher sitting in front of that child who says, maybe not, that child spends more time with that teacher spends more time with the child than I do. And I'm talking about not just adults in the building, I'm talking about the adults at home, the adults in the community. So our children come to us, they have no idea what success looks or does not look like. We can teach them what it looks like. I always told our teachers, you know, you're more than a teacher. You can descend into the classroom. You came from heaven. Right. They don't know that. So it was never a child issue. So if we want them to believe, we have to believe first. And if we believe first and go into the classroom, that belief is going to go into the children. That's the hardest thing about being an educator, is getting the adults to believe. You have a 4-year-old walk into the classroom, they're just happy to be there. But if you have this mean teacher standing in front of them who had a bad day, that's going to go into the child. So you have to get these people around your students, around your kids who already have the attitude of belief. And that's what I always said. Positive attitude changes everything. Setting the pace, that's all we said. So if you were a teacher that always had this kind of disposition that our children didn't like, it was my job to get rid of it. But that's just me.
You and I went to school. The other question is about you personally. You know, I'm thinking again of two words. First is the acronym you coined, MAD or DARE. Which part of it was more important for you when you went to the school and accomplished what you did? Did you have a certain amount of madness that I'm just going to do it my way? Or was it more daring that you said, you know what, I have a vision, I'm going to do it this way?
When I became a high school principal, when you work in a high school, you realize that's where the rubber meets the road. Amen. I was an elementary principal at Herman Hirsch Elementary, right? Several years later, I became the principal of Sam Houston High School. That's a feeder. So when I got to Sam Houston High School, during the first week, I saw kids in Sam Houston that I used to help get out of the car when they were babies at Hirsch. I said, hey, man, I remember you. You were 4. Now, several years later, you're in high school, thugged out, not going to graduate. I mean, just completely given up at 18 years old, had completely given up. And I wondered, what happened to you? From when I saw you, you weren't like that. And now I'm seeing you again, what happened? And by that time, it was way too late for me to do anything. Another thing I realized is I'm walking down the halls in high school. I would ask the students, say, man, it's 10 o'clock. We knee deep in education. Why are you in the hall? What's your name? My name, tell me the name. And I said, oh, okay, now I'm new. I said, so what class you supposed to be in? They have no idea. Then I said, well, what grade you in? supposed to be, and it didn't make sense to me. So I said, and I'm gonna wrap it up, and I said, so how old are you? Oh, I'm 19. Oh, you a senior then, right? You good. You about to go to Our Lady of the Lake. And they said, oh, no, hold on. I'm not a senior. I said, well, how are you 19 and you're not a senior? Then I said, well, how many credits do you have? I got 1, 2. So if you're 1, you have 1 or 2 credits and you're in high school, you're a freshman. I don't care how old you are. So I had to call downtown and say, hey, can you run me a report? I'm new, I don't know either. Can you give me a report on how many kids, ages, over? They said, oh, you mean an overage on the credit report. I said, that's such a thing? Yeah, well, send me that report. Now, at that time, we had 1,400 students at SAM. I was sitting outside, smoking a cigar, waiting on the report. 10 minutes later, the report came in. It was 435 students on that list. 435. So at that time, I said, all right, wait a minute, hold on. God put me here for a reason. So then I had to dare to make a difference. So and it made me mad at the same time. Because how can you be in this school this long and nobody say anything to you? So that's what we were able to do, and we were able to did that number a whole lot. That's why I started the boys' school. That's why I started the girls' school, because the school is not a one-size-fits-all thing. You have to have programs for everybody, and that wasn't being done. So I had to dare to make that happen. Sorry for that.
I've met people who are inspiring, but you are something else.
Thank you.
And of course, now no one wants to follow him. I'm going to talk to Jameson. Okay, so here's my question. What was the most rewarding part of writing your book? And then what was the most challenging part of writing the book?
So I would say the most challenging part of writing my book was being true to myself. Having to relive a lot of the painful moments that I did not want to talk about. Having to sit with myself and think about, do I really want to put this out there? Do I really want people to view me this way? I'm a church baby, right? So, you think about all that can come with that territory. And, when you have a reputation, you want to hold up your reputation. But at some point I said, you know what, if I don't tell my story, God forbid if I leave this earth, I will never be able to help change a young person's life the way I've always wanted to. And the way that I knew that God desired me to. So part of that was unmasking myself, being brave enough to sit in counseling, talk about what I want to put out, and make sure that I have emotionally overcame what I wanted to put out before I put it out. So the most rewarding part of writing the book was being able to write the book and not having the pain to cry over what I was writing. I felt the release as I wrote the book, and I knew within myself the minute that this book gets published, all I said to God was, God, if I at least just touch one, if one person will be changed, if one person can see that what you've brought me through, you can bring them through. They don't have to give up. They don't have to give up on the school system. They don't have to give up on life. They don't have to give up on the job. They will one day find marriage. It doesn't matter about how many jobs they may lose. They'll eventually find a job that'll take them and recognize their potential. So that was probably the most challenging part for me and rewarding.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Next one is for Mr. Anderson. Mr. Charles.
His names are reversed.
You reversed it.
Oh, you mean that was my question?
That was your question?
I couldn't have done it better.
I'm going to pass my question to.
Lay it up to him.
You got it.
No, it's good. No, you was from the I got my names. I had it. So it's a two-part question. So that we don't want to interrupt you. So we'll just put all the questions together.
Okay.
Writing a story with a lot of personal experience to it is not that easy. So how difficult or easy was it to, put out your personal experience out there. At the same time, you have some fictional component also to that.
Well, it was imperative for me to do so because I was writing a Christian book. When you put fiction on it or not, once you say it's Christian, it's got to be real. It's got to be authentic. And because I represent something higher than myself, so I'm writing it, but I have to trust that God is saying it. The fiction is my part. I can make you laugh. I can make you think. But I can't dig in your chest like the Word of God. And I had to know it. I couldn't just write about it. I had to actually know it and let it be a part of me. And you know, they say Gandhi used to speak and speak for 5-6 hours with no writing, and people would be so moved by it. Like, how are you writing? How are you speaking and nothing is written? He said, because it's in me. And so the parts of the book that's churchy, the parts of the book that are inspiring, the parts of the book that speak life into people, that's all God. The part that make you laugh and kind of nod the person next to you, hey, check this out. That's me. I brought the clown. He brought the crown.
This one sounds much better. This one, I don't know where they got that with that. Okay, so let's give it up for all of the authors on the panel. Told you it was going to be a great conversation. Short, quick. So each of the authors will be available. They have tables on the side where you can go talk to them directly. And this is going to be a challenge for some of you, but we want you to give real briefly a way for people to contact you. Website, social media. That way, those who may not have a chance to speak to you directly, they'll be able to follow up. So real quick, I'm gonna start down here. What you in?
Gold Jackets available on Amazon, IndieBound, Barnes & Noble, and I have cards over there that you can pick it up off the back of the card and buy it from Amazon as well.
So I'm on Amazon. I've got a website, daministriestx.org, I think. I have a business card, so y'all just visit me over there. We'll make it happen.
You can go directly to my website, mrsbrownlibrary.com. You can visit me at amazon.com, and I am live on Facebook every Friday night at 6:30 p.m. reading books.
Nice. Shockingly, I am also available on Amazon. I am also available on Barnes & Noble. And I can't believe I'm saying this out loud. I'm available at Walmart. It's unbelievable. It's a God thing. Trust me, it's a God thing. But if you're ever in Beaumont, Texas, you can catch me on the fourth Sunday preaching at Christ Mission Temple. If you ever want to listen, we are on Zoom every Wednesday, and I'm doing Bible studies, and once a month I get to lead the Bible study. Man, God is so good.
drmateendiop.com, drmateendiop.com. If you email me, mateen@drmateendiop.com, email me today, email me right now, I'll send you a free copy of the audiobook. I'm on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, and Amazon, and my website. So there are many ways to get in touch with me. If you email me today, you'll get a free copy of the audiobook today. Mateen, M-A-T-E-E-N, at drmateendiop.com. That's the email. drmateendiop.com. They ask. That's why I had to tell them.
That's what you do. You say it once, you say it again. All right, let's give the authors a hand. And we encourage you to patronize them. We're going to get the program. Thank you so much for the opportunity to lead the great discussion, and we'll get the program back into the hands of the organizer.
Okay, who's ready for our second literary moment? Okay, first I want to tell you that the winner of our first prize was won $50 in cash for answering that question. Miss Paula's going to be watching your hands go up. And these are just so tough. I can see by this audience it's really hard. Why We Can't Wait was not the first published. It was published in 1964. Okay, so we're going to go backwards and give you a little chance here now. Where Do We Go From Here was published. Okay.
Come on, what you got?
We saw hands. Strength to. Where do we go? Okay, I think Paula, have you ever seen him?
Okay, where are you?
Right there.
Strength to love.
Now, we don't have the $50. You're going to have to with the organizers on that.
Thank you, ladies. Now, not the only winners. Everyone here could be one. So before you look under the cushion of your chair, if you see a smiley face, you have won a bundle of books that we have there, which you can pick up or okay, you can go back to your seats. As you are exiting, you just come and tell us that you want a smiley face and you will get a bundle of books. Thank you so much.
Okay, as everyone's settled down, we're almost done wrapping things up. We have, we don't have the okay. So now we will hear from our program director, Rose B. Can I have everybody settle down for a moment?
Okay, if you all can take your seats for just a few more minutes. We're just like the minister. We just had one on the podium. We won't be before you very long. Just sit down for a minute, and we want to just say, we have a gift for you for real. Yes, you do have the smiley face, but there's a yellow table in the back, and we're going to gift you all. If I can have one of the young people grab that shirt and come run up here real quick, move with the purpose. And we're going to act like Oprah for a minute. She's going to be Vanna White. You're going to get a t-shirt. You get one, you get one, you get one. Okay. They're at the back table. Okay, so that's our gift to you. Thank you so much for coming. What we're doing now is we're closing up. We worried 2 people to death, literally. We worried 2 people to death, literally. Dr. Gita Goswami. Come on, my dear. We worried her to death. If we didn't call her one time, we called her about 40 times. because reading is fundamental and getting people's last names is absolutely important. And we kept messing it up. And so we worried her to death, and she was so patient. And Myrtle, while we're talking about her, we're going to give her a gift. Myrtle, we don't have a gift for you, but Myrtle, I worried her until literally last night to change the programs over and over and over. Myrtle, stand up, wave your hand, do the Miss America wave. And this is what we want to give to you men so much. She is not a member. Myrtle is a member. We worried her because she belongs to us. We worried her, and she's just a friend of someone that belongs to us. Thank you so much. We're so grateful that you all decided to spend your afternoon with us. We're excited about the direction that L.E.N.S is moving in toward. We do have the very first person here in the building that kind of came up with the idea, which is Irma Donalds. She came up with the idea, presented it to Dr. Nelson. We had our very first event here, and now we're on number 5, and we're so excited about it. We are excited that you all decided to come post-COVID. And we wasn't sure about the numbers because a lot of people are still not doing events. But because you all care about literacy, we're so excited that you decided to come and to give a donation toward this great endeavor. Thank you to all of those, our past authors. We have several in the audience. And all of you all now that are our new past authors, all of you all that were on the podium now, you're the old. You're old. We're looking for some new ones. We will be sending out a clarion call in September. In September, looking for authors. Now you know. And if you want to be a part, prepare your video. We'll vet you and we'll tell you whether you make the cut. Thank you so much for coming. If I missed anybody, charge it to, what's the saying our grandparents used to say, to my head and not my heart. We love you all, and for sign language people, we do love you. Thanks for coming. The authors have their books on the other side. Please patronize